The tide turns. Captain Elena Vasquez pressed her palm against the reinforced viewport of the colony ship New Horizon and watched death approach her home. The Krethek Empire had found them at last, their massive bioships emerging from the void. Like living nightmares, each vessel pulsed with organic matter, grown rather than built, their hulls breathing with a rhythm that made Elena's skin crawl. "Captain, we're reading 150 enemy vessels," reported Lieutenant Marcus Webb from his tactical station. His voice remained steady, despite the impossible odds they faced. "Each ship is roughly twice the size of our largest defense platform." Elena nodded grimly. New Horizon wasn't a warship. It was a colony vessel, home to 80,000 human settlers who had traveled 15 years to reach this system. They had mining platforms, agricultural domes, and research stations. What they didn't have was a military fleet capable of fighting the most aggressive species in known space. That the Krethek had earned their reputation through centuries of conquest. They didn't negotiate, didn't take prisoners, and didn't leave survivors. When they decided a species was occupying space they wanted, that species simply ceased to exist. 3 human colonies had already fallen to their biofleets, each one wiped out completely, with no trace of the inhabitants ever found. Communications from the lead Krethek vessel, announced Ensign Sarah Chun from her station. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." "Put it through," Elena ordered, though she already knew what message would come. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the nightmare that was a Krethek commander. Standing nearly 10 feet tall, the creature's exoskeleton gleamed with a wet, chitinous surface. 4 arms ended in razor-sharp claws, while its head bore 3 black eyes arranged in a triangle above a mouth filled with rows of serrated teeth. When it spoke, the translation software rendered its clicking, hissing language into cold, mechanical words. "Human colony, designated New Horizon. You occupy space claimed by the Krethek Empire. You have 1 standard hour to abandon this system, or face complete extermination. This is your only warning." The screen went black, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Elena looked around at her crew, seeing the fear they were trying to hide. They all knew the stories. The Krethek didn't make empty threats. "Captain," said Dr. James Morrison, the colony's chief scientist, "our long-range sensors show at least 12 other human settlements in this sector. If we run, they'll just hunt us down one by one. And if we stay, we all die in the next hour," replied Marcus bluntly. "Captain, we have 6 defense platforms and maybe 30 civilian ships that could mount weapons. Against 150 Krethek bioships, we wouldn't last 10 minutes. Elena walked to the central command chair, her mind racing through impossible calculations. Evacuating 80,000 people would take days, not hours. The transport ships were designed for comfort, not speed. Even if they could somehow get everyone aboard, the Krethek would hunt them down long before they reached the next system. "What about the distress beacon?" asked Sarah. "Did we get a response from Earth Command?" Elena shook her head. "Earth is 43 light years away. Even if they sent help the moment they received our signal, it would take weeks to reach us." Through the viewport, the Krethek fleet was spreading out in a classic attack formation. Their bioships moved with fluid grace, adjusting their positions like a school of predatory fish preparing to feed. Elena could see weapon ports opening along their organic hulls, revealing the devastating firepower that had already claimed 3 human worlds. "Captain," Marcus said quietly, "we need to make a decision. Do we evacuate who we can, or do we try to fight?" Before Elena could answer, the bridge was filled with the sound of alarms. Sarah's fingers flew over her console as she tried to process the readings flooding her screens. "Captain, I'm detecting massive hyperspace distortions." Sarah's voice cracked with excitement. "Something big is coming out of FTL, bearing 27 Mark IV. Elena spun toward the tactical display, her heart suddenly racing. The readings were unlike anything she had ever seen. The energy signatures were enormous, suggesting ships far larger than anything in the colonial fleet. How many contacts? Elena demanded. Sarah's eyes widened as she read her instruments. Ma'am, I'm reading over 200 distinct signatures. Whatevers. Coming. It's a full battle fleet. The space around New Horizons suddenly erupted in brilliant flashes of light as reality itself seemed to tear apart. The first ship to emerge from hyperspace was a sight that made Alana's breath catch in her throat. It was a human dreadnought, its angular hull stretching nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern. The massive vessel's armor plating gleamed with the matte gray finish of military-grade composites, while dozens of weapon turrets tracked smoothly across its surface. More ships followed in rapid succession. Heavy cruisers, destroyers, frigates, and support vessels materialized from the void in perfect formation. Elena had never seen so many warships in one place. The colonial fleet's 6 defense platforms suddenly looked like toys compared to the yell. Raw military power that had just arrived. "This is Admiral Chun aboard the EDF Retribution," came a voice over the communications channel. "Colony ship New Horizon, we received your distress call. Please stand by while we handle this situation." Elena felt tears of relief streaming down her face as she watched the human fleet deploy for battle. Each ship moved with practiced precision, their formations shifting like clockwork as they prepared to engage the Krethic invaders. "Admiral Chun, this is Captain Vasquez of New Horizon," Elena transmitted. "We have 80,000 civilians aboard this vessel. The Krethic have given us 1 hour to evacuate the system." "Negative, Captain," came the Admiral's reply. "You're not going anywhere. This is human space, and we don't abandon our people to alien aggressors." On the tactical display, Elena watched as the human fleet spread out in an attack formation that dwarfed the Krethic deployment. The aliens had 150 bioships, but the humans had brought over 200 purpose-built warships, each one designed for a single mission: destroying humanity's enemies. The lead Krethic commander must have been as shocked as Elena, because the alien fleet hesitated for several crucial seconds. That hesitation cost them dearly. Admiral Chun's flagship, the massive dreadnought Retribution, opened fire with its main battery. 8 particle beam weapons, each one capable of cutting through a mountain, lanced out across space and struck the largest Krethic bioship. The alien vessel's organic armor, evolved over millions of years to deflect energy weapons, might as well have been tissue paper. The particle beams carved through the bioship's hull like heated knives through butter, causing massive internal explosions that tore the creature vessel apart from the inside out. "All ships weapons-free," Admiral Chun's voice echoed across the fleet communications channel. "Target priority: complete destruction of all hostile vessels. No prisoners, no survivors." The space around New Horizon transformed into a light show of destruction as the human fleet opened fire. Missile batteries launched thousands of warheads, while plasma cannons and railguns added their voices to the symphony of violence. Krethic bioships, caught completely off guard by the sudden arrival of a force that outnumbered and outgunned them, began dying by the dozens. Elena watched in fascination as human military doctrine unfolded before her eyes. This wasn't the desperate defense of a colony or the hit-and-run tactics of raiders. This was the full might of Earth's military, deployed with surgical precision and overwhelming force. Each human ship knew its role, its target, and its mission. There was no hesitation, no mercy, and no second chances. The Krethic commander tried to rally his forces, but the bioships were struggling to adapt to weapons they had never encountered before. Human military technology had advanced considerably since the first colony ships left Earth. The particle beams, quantum torpedoes, and fusion warheads being deployed against them represented the cutting edge of human engineering. Within the first 10 minutes of battle, the Krithik had lost 30 ships. Their organic vessels writhed in space as they died, their bioneural networks screaming in frequencies that human ears couldn't hear, but their instruments detected. The aliens had brought a fleet designed to terrorize and destroy defenseless colonies. They had encountered the wrath of humanity's finest warriors instead. Asterisk. "Captain," Marcus said, his voice filled with awe, "the human fleet isn't just winning. They're not even taking casualties. It's like watching a pack of wolves fight a group of children." Elena nodded, understanding for the first time why Earth had been so confident in allowing colonies to spread across the galaxy. They hadn't been abandoned or forgotten. Earth had been building the most powerful military force in known space, ready to defend human interests wherever they might be threatened. The Krithak commander's bioship, recognizing the hopelessness of the situation, began to retreat toward the edge of the system. The alien fleet, or what remained of it, tried to disengage from the battle and escape to hyperspace. They had clearly never encountered resistance like this before, but Admiral Chun had other plans. Elena watched as the human fleet adjusted its formation, moving to cut off the aliens' escape routes. Fast attack craft and destroyers raced ahead of the main fleet, their FTL drives allowing them to jump ahead of the retreating Krethek forces. "This is Admiral Chun to all ships," came the voice over the communications channel. "Remember, the Krethek Empire has committed genocide against human colonies. They have shown no mercy to our people, and they will receive none from us. No alien vessel leaves this system alive." Elena realized she was witnessing something that would be remembered throughout human history. This wasn't just a battle. It was a message being sent to every species in the galaxy. Humanity would not tolerate the slaughter of its people, and those who tried would face consequences beyond their imagination. The space battle continued to rage around New Horizon, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The human fleet was systematically destroying every Krethek vessel with ruthless efficiency. Admiral Chun's forces had turned what should have been humanity's darkest hour into the enemy's final nightmare. Asterisk. No mercy for the merciless, the Krethek. Commander's desperation was palpable as his bioship fled toward the system's edge, trailing fluids from wounds inflicted by human weapons. Behind him, the remnants of his once mighty fleet struggled to escape the systematic destruction being unleashed by Admiral Chun's forces. Of the original 150 bioships that had entered the system with such confidence, fewer than 60 remained functional. Captain Alana Vasquez watched from New Horizon's bridge as the human fleet demonstrated why Earth had become the dominant power. In this sector of the galaxy, the coordination between ships was flawless, each vessel moving in perfect harmony with its neighbors. Destroyers herded fleeing Krethek ships toward the heavy cruisers, while the massive dreadnoughts served as mobile fortresses, their weapons batteries capable of destroying multiple targets simultaneously. "Admiral Chun is hailing us," announced Ensign Sarah Chun from her communications station. "Put him through," Elena ordered, curious to hear from the man who had just saved her colony. The main screen displayed Admiral Chun's weathered face. He was older than Elena had expected, probably in his 60s, with silver hair and the kind of scars that came from decades of military service. His eyes held the calm confidence of someone who had seen every kind of battle and emerged victorious. "Captain Vasquez, I want you to witness what happens to species that threaten human civilians," Admiral Chun said. "Your people deserve to see justice served." Elena nodded, understanding the significance of the moment. This battle would be recorded and transmitted throughout human space, serving as both a celebration of their military might and a warning to potential enemies. Tactical display, Elena watched as the human fleet executed what could only be described as a perfect military operation. The Krethek bioships were fleeing in panic, their organic hulls damaged and leaking. But Admiral Chun's forces had anticipated every possible escape route. Human ships emerged from hyperspace ahead of the retreating aliens, cutting off their path to freedom. Look at their formation, observed Lieutenant Marcus Webb, studying the tactical display. The Admiral isn't just trying to destroy them quickly. He's making sure none of them escape to warn the Krethek Empire about our capabilities. Elena realized Marcus was right. This wasn't just about winning a battle. It was about controlling information. The Krethek Empire had sent this fleet expecting easy victory against a defenseless colony. Instead, they had encountered the full might of humanity's military machine. If word of this defeat reached other Krethek forces, they might adapt their tactics or bring even larger fleets. Chun wasn't going to let that happen. The human fleet's heavy cruiser, Indomitable, moved into position behind a group of fleeing Krethek bioships. Its main guns, massive rail cannons capable of firing projectiles at significant fractions of light speed, began targeting the alien vessels. The first shot struck a Krethek bioship amidships, the kinetic energy transfer literally tearing the organic vessel in half. The creature ship's death scream was picked up by the sensors, a haunting sound that spoke of pain beyond human comprehension. But the humans showed no mercy. The same species that had wiped out 3 human colonies, killing hundreds of thousands of innocent people, deserved no compassion in return. The Indomitable continued firing, each shot claiming another Krethek vessel until the space around it was filled with the debris of alien bioships. "Captain," said Dr. James Morrison, the colony's chief scientist, "our sensors are detecting some kind of distress signal from the Krethek fleet. They're trying to surrender." Elena looked at Admiral Chun's image on the screen. The Admiral's expression remained unchanged, his eyes cold and calculating. "Admiral, are you receiving the surrender signal?" Elena asked. "I am," Chun replied. "But the Krethek Empire doesn't take prisoners, Captain. They've never shown mercy to human civilians, and they won't receive any from us. This is what happens when you commit genocide against humanity." Elena understood the logic, even if part of her felt uncomfortable watching what amounted to an execution. The Krethek had established the rules of this conflict when they began, exterminating human colonies. They had shown that they viewed humans as nothing more than obstacles to be removed. Now they were learning that humanity could be just as ruthless when defending its own people. The human destroyer Stormcrow had positioned itself near the system's primary hyperspace jump point, the most likely route for any escaping Krethek vessels. As a group of damaged bioships approached, the destroyer's weapon systems came online. Plasma cannons and missile batteries opened fire simultaneously, creating a wall of destruction that no organic vessel could survive. Asterisk. The bioships tried to scatter, their pilots desperately attempting evasive maneuvers. But human weapons technology had advanced far beyond what the Krethek had encountered before. Smart missiles adjusted their course in real time, tracking the bioship's movements and detonating at precisely the right moment to maximize damage. Plasma bolts, guided by quantum targeting systems, struck with surgical precision. Within minutes, the Stormcrow had eliminated an entire wing of Krethek vessels, their organic hulls dissolving under the intense heat of human plasma weapons. The ocean of space around the destroyer was filled with the rapidly cooling remains of bioships that had been reduced to their component molecules. "Admiral Chun," Elena transmitted, "your fleet's performance is remarkable. How long have you been planning for a confrontation like this?" Chun's expression softened slightly as he considered the question. "Captain, Earth Command has been preparing for this war since the first Krethek attack on New Geneva Colony. We knew they would eventually target our more distant settlements, so we've spent the last 5 years building a fleet specifically designed to fight their bioships. Elena suddenly understood the implications. This wasn't a rescue mission. It was a trap. Earth Command had been using the outer colonies as bait, waiting for the Kruthic to commit a significant force to attacking human settlements. Now they were destroying that force completely, sending a message that would resonate throughout the galaxy. The final phase of the battle was beginning as the last surviving Kruthic bioships made desperate attempts to escape the system. The alien commander's vessel, larger than the others and covered in more sophisticated organic armor, was racing toward a secondary hyperspace jump point that the aliens might have hoped the humans hadn't noticed. They were wrong. The human dreadnought Retribution was already waiting there, its massive bulk positioned directly in the bioship's path. Admiral Chun's flagship was a monument to human engineering, its weapon systems capable of destroying entire fleets. Against a single damaged bioship, even one as large as the Kruthic commander's vessel, the outcome was predetermined. "This is Admiral Chun to the Kruthic commander," came the transmission across all frequencies. "Your empire made a mistake when it decided to wage war against humanity. This is the price of that mistake." The Retribution's main battery fired single coordinated salvo. 8 particle beams, each one carrying the energy output of a small star, converged on the Kruthic command ship. The biovessel's organic armor, evolved over millions of years to resist energy weapons, lasted approximately 2 seconds before it was overwhelmed. The explosion that followed was visible from New Horizons Bridge, a brilliant flash of light that briefly outshone the system's primary star. When the light faded, there was nothing left of the Kruthic commander or his ship except a rapidly expanding cloud of superheated plasma. The battle was over. In less than 2 hours, Admiral Chun's fleet had completely destroyed a Kruthic invasion force that had been considered unstoppable. Not a single alien vessel had escaped to carry word of the defeat back to the Kruthic Empire. All ships secure from general quarters. Admiral Chun's voice echoed across the fleet communications channel. "Begin search and rescue operations for any surviving colonists from the affected sectors." Eleni felt a weight lift from her shoulders as she realized the implications. The human fleet hadn't just saved New Horizon. They had eliminated the threat to every human colony in this sector of space. The Kruthic Empire would eventually notice that their invasion fleet had vanished, but they would have no way of knowing what had happened to it. "Captain Vasquez," Admiral Chun's voice came through the communications channel. "We'll be maintaining a permanent patrol squadron in this system. Your people are safe now, and they'll stay that way." Elena nodded, feeling tears of gratitude streaming down her face. "Thank you, Admiral. All of us owe you our lives." "No, Captain," Chun replied, his voice filled with quiet determination. "You owe me nothing. Protecting human civilians is what we do. It's what we'll always do." As the human fleet began rescue operations and established defensive positions throughout the system, Elena realized she had witnessed something that would change the balance of power in this part of the galaxy. The Kruthic Empire had learned that humanity was no longer the weak species they had been preying upon. Earth's children had grown strong, and they would not tolerate the slaughter of their people. The message would spread throughout known space, carried by traders, diplomats, and refugees from other species who had suffered under Kruthic aggression. Humanity had announced its arrival as a major military power in the most definitive way possible, by completely destroying an enemy that had been considered invincible. The age of human expansion was just beginning, and the galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk.